Hi, this is Andrew. Thanks for joining me. This is the third video in the Linux Basics series for the Client Operating Systems class. This video really fills in a lot of the blanks in terms of using Linux powerfully and being able to do things that are useful. There's a lot more we can do beyond this, and we will have more videos that cover the materials. But so far what we've done is we looked at directories, we've moved around, we've looked at what's inside of files. We've even made directories and removed them. We've created blank files and removed them, and moved files around and copied files. The one thing we haven't done is changed what's inside of files. And that's really a critical piece. And from there, we have a couple other things just to keep track of and specifically call out. But let's start by making a file. So right now in my home directory, and again, just like in the last video, since we can see my desktop, I'm going to switch to the desktop directory just so you can see things as they happen. So I'm in my desktop directory, and what I want to do is I want to create a file with something inside of it. There are lots of programs that can do that. The most easily used is probably Nano. The program that always exists everywhere is probably VI. Really what you use is up to your own preferences. I'm going to use Nano. I'm going to show you Nano because it's the easiest to use. At some point, and if you're in this program, it'll be next semester at the latest, you're going to need to learn how to use VI. But for now, we can use Nano. Nano is a program. It's like Word, but it's much more simple, so it's a lot more like Notepad on Windows. So I will do Nano, and I'm going to create a file. And that file can be, I'll call it a list. So now I have a file called list. This file doesn't exist, so it's listed as a new file. And I'm going to just create a list of things. So these things I'm going to list are numbers. 1, 2, and then 3. And now I'm done creating my list. So what do? So if I want to get out of the file, I look down here, and this explains the commands to do things. So I can get help, and I can read more about it, I can exit, but what I want to do is write out. So I'm going to do Control O for write out. And then I'm going to confirm the name is list, and I just created this file called list, and it's down here. And if I open that file in something else, I'll see the 1, 2, 3. Now, of course, I'm still here. The way I can get out is with the exit. If I do Control X, I'm back to my terminal. Now, let's say I decide I want the list changed. I go Nano list, and I want to change 3 to 4. So now it's 1, 2, 4. Okay. Now I can write out again, although I'm lazy. I don't want to type things more than I need to. So I'm just going to exit. And it's going to say, hey, it changed. Do you want to save that? So I'll select yes and hit enter on the name. And now it's been changed. And if I go back into it, I have 1, 2, 4. And since I'm in here, I'll add one more. I have 5. I'll do Control X and yes. And the list file name to write is list. So now I'm done. Now if I wanted to look inside that file, I could use Nano, but I could also use cat. I'm just going to cat the list, and I have my list right here, 1, 2, 4, 5. I could also use the program we looked at recently, less, and then it shows the whole list, and when I say, okay, I've seen enough, I can exit. So that is editing files. And there are a lot of files you might need to edit that are not just a list of numbers or things. Configuration files you'll go into all the time and edit them and change what port Apache is listening on or anything that you want to configure. It all happens here. It happens with Nano or VI. This is just an easy way of doing it. If you don't have Nano installed on your system, you could install it on Ubuntu. It comes installed by default. So something else I mentioned recently is that you have a history. You can do the up arrow and repeat things. You know what? I want to go back and edit Nano. So I was here, and instead of typing Nano list, again, lazy, I can go up to nano list and hit enter. And now I can go here and add more to the list. And I'll do Control X, yes, enter, and I've just updated that file. And now if I want to confirm it's updated, I'll go up and find the cat list command, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So I've just used my history. The other thing the history is good for is what if you want to make a slight change? What if you're pinging 192.168.56.1? Okay, I'm pinging it and it's working, so I will do Control C, and I want to ping something else. So I'll just do the up arrow and change that to 2. And nope, that's not replying, so I'll do Control C and change it to 3. There are plenty of other ways to repeat ping commands, but in this case, I'm just going up and making changes. Let's clear the screen so we can make it look better. The other thing I can do is, let's say I want to open a file and I type the wrong path. So I'm here and I say I want to open that list file. So I type cat, I'll do it cat home, and I type the wrong name here. And then I go to desktop and list. Now, I tried tab completing, we'll look at that in a second, and it didn't work because the directory doesn't exist, but now it's saying no such file or directory, and I look at it and it say, oh, I typed my name wrong. So now I can go here, type it correctly, and repeat the command with just adding a letter. So that was just going to my old command with the up arrow and moving left and right with the cursor until I get to the spot I want. If I wanted to delete something, I can do that. If I do that, I can type, I can do whatever I want. And it helps to practice it because, if I want to delete the W right now, and from where I am, I'm actually going to delete the E because the cursor is to the left of what it's going to work on. Or the cursor is to the right of the letter, so if I backspace, it'll delete the letter to the left. So I just looked at what was in the list file. Now, one other thing to keep in mind. Again, these are a lot of little things now to lead up to the last thing we're doing, which is very important. So I'm in my desktop directory now. I just cleared things up. I'm in my desktop directory now. Let's say I wanted to look at that list file or make changes to it, and I do nano list. And now it's blank. There's nothing there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating a new list. AABBCC. That's my new list. Now I'll do Control X to exit, save the buffer, name it. And if we look at it, I have 2 files here named list. One has a capital L, one has a lowercase l. So, and if I do cat uppercase list, that gives me my A's. If I do cat lowercase list, that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I said, you know what, I'm going to do this, now I have a new file again. And I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Control X. Now I have a third file. All of these are different. They're different files. We look at them as humans and see all 3 have the same name with different capitalization. Linux looks at it as a computer and sees 3 different files, 3 different names, no pattern to them at all. They're just different files. So it is really important to recognize where things are capitalized and make sure you're doing exactly what you expect. So if you created a capitalized list and then tried to open the lowercase list, it's going to be blank. So if you go to your list and it's blank, first thing you should look at is, wait, why I expected something there. So now I can do Control X and it doesn't even bother saving because I didn't make any changes. Now I can say, oh, I meant to do this list. Now I'm in here and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the original one that I had. No, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I don't even remember what I typed. So that is an important thing to remember when you're dealing with files. Now the other thing that I've previously mentioned, but is really good practice, is the tab complete. Even though this is just 4 characters, if I do the lowercase l and tab, it completes the file name. If I were to say, I want to open up that file, but I want to give the full path, let's say I'm somewhere else, I can do tab home, or H and then tab, and then A and then tab, and then D, E, and then tab, and then I can hit the L to say I'm opening up that list file. And even though in this case I don't need to put the full path because it's in the same directory I'm in, if I wanted to, or if I were in a separate directory, just by tab completing, it really shortens what you're typing. But more importantly, it confirms that you're in the right place. It prevents you from doing something like that and saying, why is list empty? Or wait, my directory doesn't even exist. What's wrong? So now I can do Control X, exit out if I wanted to repeat that. But just doing tab complete prevents this kind of error. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So tab complete, critical piece. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about. Let's exit out of this. Oop. Actually, let's leave that there. Control X. Ooh, I have a typo. Do I want to save this? No, I don't. So I'm just going to do N. And then if I do cat list, my typo is gone. If I had hit yes, then there would be an X in front of the one. So if you noticed, there's a $sign here. That means I'm a regular user on this computer. We'll get into permissions later on and where they apply, but I'm a regular user. So if I want to do, let's just go back to my home directory. If I do pwd, I can see I'm home Andrew. So that's my home directory. The $sign says I am a regular user. What if I wanted to do something like put a list at the beginning of the file system? So I do, even do the touch command because we really don't care what's in there. List. I can't put that there, permission denied. As a regular user, I don't have permissions there. But what does have permissions there is the root user. So I can do root a couple of different ways. I can run the sudo command. That is super user do. So it's saying run this command as super user or root. Then I'll do touch list. And then I type the password for my account because my account has permissions to use sudo. And no errors. So if I ls the root of the file system, I see my list right here. Obviously it's empty. I didn't put anything in it, but I was able to create it there. So I just cleared the screen, and even though I created this file here, I can't remove it. So if I try to remove /list, it's going to give me a strange error, a strange message, but then when I do ls/ I list the root of the file system, that file is still there. And that's because this file actually got created by the root account because I did sudo. So if I want to get rid of this file, I can do sudo. And this is another time where the history is really useful. I can do the up arrow twice, and I just go back to the beginning and put a sudo in front of it. Now, since I've run sudo recently, it won't prompt me for the password again. And then I'll list again, and that list file is gone. So I created that file and now it went away. Now, let's say I don't want to be using sudo. I want to become super user. I want to be the root account. I don't know the root account's password, but I have permissions to become root. I can do sudo and SU. And I'm going to put a dash there. We don't need to worry about why I'm putting the dash there quite yet. But SU is switch user. And when I don't tell it which user to switch to, it's going to make me root. And watch this $ prompt when I do that. It turns into a pound. And the whole prompt says, I'm no longer Andrew, I am root on Prof A. Now, if I do PWD right now, it's going to show that I'm in a different home directory because I'm a different account. I'm now in /root, which is root's home directory. Now, if I want to create a file on in the root of the file system, it's fine. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to do anything. I can do ls/. I can see that list. If I want to see what's in Andrew's home directory, remember, I'm no longer Andrew, I'm root. I can do ls home Andrew, and I can see everything that's in there. I can see a list file that was accidentally created. I can see the desktop directory with all of those list files. I can see anyone's home directory as root. I have full permissions. So now if I want to get back, I can do exit. Now I said, don't worry about that dash right now. Let's repeat the command without a dash. Now I'm root, but it's showing me in home Andrew. PWD is the Andrew home directory. That dash just moves me into the root environment. Without the dash, I stay in the Andrew environment or whatever account I was in, and I can work there as root. So most of the time, I think I want to do the dash. But most of the time, the best practice is to use the sudo command, because then you're sure that this command that you're running, you mean to run as root. If you are in as root, if we do this, and I'm now root on this system, clear, I can do anything, whether I mean to or not, whether it's on purpose or accidental. If I wanted to say RM home Andrew desktop, and I said I want to get rid of the list file, and I get rid of the list file, now it's gone, but that's the wrong file. That's too bad. I just made a mistake and now it's gone. Now I just deleted another one. If that's what I mean to do, that's fine. But when you're root, you can make mistakes and say, you know what, I better put those back. I'm going to do a touch on list, or I'm going to mistype something. I'm going to do home Andrew desktop, and I'm gonna create a new file called list. And this time it gives me an error because that directory doesn't exist. But if I do things in a different way incorrectly, it'll give me rights to do that. I can make a directory that's in the wrong place. So be careful being root all the time. Most of the time what you want to do is, I can also type a command, and if I type a functional command in the wrong place with a typo, it's likely it would run. So now I'm actually back to Andrew, and I can actually run the commands I want to on my own environment. I can cat list. I'm not in desktop. CD desktop. And now I'll cat list. And what I'm doing is I hit the L and then the tab key to autocomplete. And I was just doing it so quickly, I hit the enter key after that, and it said, I don't see any L file. So cat list, I have my list back. I'm back in my own environment, and I can work with this file. I can work with any of the files I want. So these are all skills that you need to have to take the next step, to do the next set of things we'll be doing. It may seem some of them are simplistic, just creating files, editing files, but really you're going to see that we're going to be using all of these skills a lot in the next few classes. So make sure you have a good understanding of how they work and what you can do with them. and we will spend more time doing them and repeating them in the future. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.